crickets. All right, okay, we're having fun. Folks, the crickets you hear are actually Cliff. And Cliff, good to have you on board tonight.
Thank you, Mark and Susan.
And it's so good that you went outside. Folks, you should have been on this conversation a minute ago.
He's at McDonald's.
Cliff is coming to you from a McDonald's at an undisclosed Floridian location. But what difference does it make? They're all the same.
Yeah, that's true. They're all loud.
Susan, how did you find Cliff?
Cliff, I actually met him, first of all, on Twitter. And I saw that he was a Convention of States, and then I invited him here, and he came here, and we've been chatting up ever since. Found out he was a state director in New York, co-state director. And he's getting geared up and ready to fight with us this year, and we're so glad to have him, and wish him all the best in New York.
So,
for
Cliff,
sure.
how did one become the co-director of a state? Did you just show up and, did you not attend the meeting where they nominated that and you got voted in?
I became one of the top recruiters in the country, and I guess they just had to give me some position.
You were, yeah, okay.
And when you say recruiter, what'd you recruit?
Petitions.
I recruited petition signers.
Petition signers, yeah.
So you're,
I
and
think I've done close to 500 in 2 months or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, they keep track of those things each.
Mostly through Twitter.
Yeah.
Mostly through Twitter, yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And tonight you are coming to us live from McDonald's. Is that where you normally hang out during these rallies, or did your wife chase you out of the house and you had to go to McDonald's and get on a Wi-Fi?
Yeah, that's pretty close to it. No, I actually had some really nice IT training with Michael Tranchina and Jason Gerard today, and I'm meeting with the Florida State Director tomorrow, so I'm in between Jupiter and Port St. Lucie, where Brenda, the Florida Director, lives.
So when you said you had some IT training, what'd you go over?
We went over the some of the tools we have for keeping track of state legislators. There's some pretty incredible tools. There was one that I think they referred to as the sheeple, and you actually could see how many of the legislators voted similarly. So if you had one guy that was interested in COS, there was probably 20 or 30 other assembly people or senators that would probably go along with them. You could see that on 3,000 votes, they voted the same 2,950 times. So there's a high likelihood they would go along if you could find, the supreme leader of that caucus. You could probably get, quite a few to go along with them. So it's some amazing tools that track all the votes of all the whatever it is, 4,000 legislators around the country. And so I just found different ways that you can update it. You can kind of find out how, if you get word that some senator or assembly person is leaning towards you or away from you, you can document it so everybody else knows, who to try to put some, some pressure on, or some put some calls through to, and it's a very, very intelligent system.
Well, I think that gives you some insight in the organization and the strategic objectives, because you can just walk around the halls of Congress and stumble into some legislatures, but it sounds to me like they're targeting, and they're trying to put their efforts where you get the most bang for the buck.
Right.
Yes. That's what
sharp.
we need.
That's pretty sharp. Well, there's a lot.
We've gotten some really good news in New York. I think we have we're real close to getting a number for the the resolution. So that's pretty exciting.
That's huge.
I was on a conference call with all the New York State leaders just before the call started tonight, and yeah, we got word that the senator that was gonna sponsor it, is moving forward on it. So we're hoping in the next week to have a bill number. So that's pretty neat for New York. It's still a long way from having a lot of support, but it's definitely crossing a threshold.
Yeah, what do you think the potential is?
I'd hate to even to guess at it. The last whip count we did, it indicated that like 70-80% of the legislators hadn't even heard of our organization. So
yeah,
it's hard to really gauge their interest without having them understand us a little more. And as far as I know, there's another Convention of States organization that's a little ahead of us in the process. So it's important for us to try to educate the legislators that we're different from them. We're not necessarily against them, but we're two different organizations, because that can cause confusion.
Well, one of the things that we have to keep in mind in all types of political activism, almost no matter what the topic and whether it's conservative or progressive, it's a long stream of events. I'm a football coach, and a football game is not one play. The big Hail Mary. Most of the football game is won, 3 yards, 4 yards, 6 yards at a time. So when you make these little, runs up the middle, and get a number assigned to a bill. Now, I don't know how it works in New York, but I do know, or you don't know, it's generally understood that when a number is assigned to the bill, there's some code in that number. If it's bill number 6, what that is saying is this is a high priority. If it's bill number 7432, they don't just number in the United States House. The first bill is number 1, the second bill is number 2. They don't give them a serial number, but the number that is designated kind of sends a message to Congress on how important this is in the mind of the speaker. So that's kind of one of those unwritten rules that's out there.
I also wanted to mention I've gotten to meet 2 DCs, I think, in Arkansas on my way down, 2 DCs in Houston, and I've met 2 DCs in Florida now. So that's
wow.
I have yet to meet any DCs in New York, so that's kind of neat that I've met 6 outside New York. I've been on the phone with them. I've been on Twitter, Facebook with them, but I'm meeting people outside, and that tells you how big of a state New York is. It's very, very wide and very diverse.
Wow. Yeah, that's great.
Well, folks, it's really good to have recon, directly, like Cliff, and thank you for sharing, Cliff, because there's, again, for the people that are here right now, they basically know the end result. We haven't accomplished it yet, but actually, there's a lot of things happening along the way, and it's very encouraging. And of course, there'll be setbacks too. In any game, there's an ebb and flow. The tide kind of comes in and goes out. But right now, Susan, it sounds like all the indicators are pointing north.
I know, it's amazing. It still blows my mind. As much as we've already gotten accomplished by January, that we didn't even have accomplished by last year March. It's just fantastic.
And I think it's tough that we're competing with the presidential election too. I think there's a lot of buzz along with that, so it's hard to really for us to separate ourselves sometimes from that buzz.
Yeah, but we can also make them hopefully try to talk about us too, bring it up and make that a election topic. Like with Rubio.
If you see that picture of me on the PJ Net there, that's about 10 seconds taken after I asked Cruz if he was going to support us. So
he said, "Yeah, I'll give you a photo."
I wish I had.
There's your support.
I wish I had my COS action shirt on instead of my cruise sweatshirt. But
Did you notice
hopefully
that?
there'll be
Go ahead.
hopefully there'll be another chance before I head back north.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, Mark, did you notice the logo on his shirt?
Yeah, and I see the guy in the background doing the thumbs up too. See?
Yeah.
And if you also look at the sweatshirt, I don't know if you can see it, but it's actually a Missouri sweatshirt. I found
What
it was
state are
easier
you
for
from?
me to get a cruise sweatshirt from a Facebook group Missouri cruise site than it was to buy it from Amazon or cruise directly.
So here we have Cliff from New York, Missouri, Florida, talking to people in Arkansas, and you gotta find a home. Land somewhere.
Yes. I don't know. I like the road.
Yeah.
I think what it is, he keeps getting kicked out of all these states. He has to,
Yeah.
people say, what's your address? And I tell them, say, well, till the rent comes due anyway, that's where I'll be. So,
That's right.
well, listen, I haven't looked at the numbers. For now, I don't have my studio built, so I can't tell, but we were off to a good start on the tweets tonight. Susan, could you check on that real quick?
I've got it right here. Popping up. 10,705 so far.
And how many did we have last week for the entire day?
Last week for the entire day was 10,952, so we are off to a fantastic start.
Well, folks,
Absolutely.
that's great.
Susan,
news.
did you want to mention that we might roll out a hashtag recruiting number in the near future?
Yes, we are. Actually, yes. I was going to mention that, and I forgot.
You were
to do it
just
a while
about to
ago.
say
I
it, yeah.
got nervous, yes. Because I'm not a big talker in video. Or anyway, yes, we're talking about, and just to get y'all's opinion, since the people who are here, about doing a big hoorah for George Washington's birthday.
Which
doing
is?
Which is February the 22nd, which is a Sunday. It's going to be an extra event, and if anybody would like to pitch in, it's going to be just on our own doing it. National's not going to be funding it. If you want to pitch in $10, that would be great. Anyway, we are planning on having that, or wanting to have, and would like your opinion of, on his birthday, the 22nd, and do kind of a 24-hour thing of making a big splash. We're hoping that we can get anywhere from 50 to 100 people to schedule tweets. And I've had several people tell me that we could pull this off. And so that means if we
could set a record.
Yeah, we could set a record with, and that's what our goal is for us to set a record for that day. And I thought it would be apropos for, being on George Washington's birthday. One of our founding fathers, as well as our first president.
There you go. And the general of the Continental Army.
And I see Network, she's all for it.
Okay.
And so is Aaron. And the topic, Mark 2, would be hashtag COS project. We want to make a big splash, and we've got people lined up to get media alerted that we will be doing it. So if we make a big splash, then we will hopefully be written in articles and whatnot, so that we can oppose the opposition.
Well, one of the things that we
quiet them down,
that we did with one that was one of the cruise crew hashtag rallies, is what we did is we called it a fireworks. And what we did is agreed everybody stay up until midnight. So Saturday night at midnight, everybody go in and just dispatch all the featured tweets and do it interactively. Don't use the scheduler. Just do it interactively and just put a big push out there. And then when you wake up the next morning, you can schedule some to run all day. And what that'll do is get those tweets. One, it makes a big, spike. And the other thing is those tweets will marinate longer. and earn organic retweets because they're simply out there longer. The tweet scheduler has helped the numbers tremendously for that very reason. People are coming in and scheduling their tweets and are going out throughout the day, as opposed to just doing them during the rally alone, which is late, and then midnight comes and the counters kind of reset and go to the next day. So we can coordinate something like that and give it a big push. Also, it would be kind of cool if we could get a high-profile speaker, like Cliff,
Cliff,
or Mike Huckabee, or Mark.
I'm already working on that one.
I bet you are.
I figures, I already anticipated that part.
Yeah.
But we just actually, I thought, whenever I was throwing out the idea to Laura, I said, well, if we can get 100 people to go schedule tweets at midnight while we're asleep. Actually, we start them I guess at 11 o'clock our time, because that would get an hour in by Eastern time. Nevertheless, the time thingy. But I told her, I said, well, if we do 100 people do the scheduled of 100 tweets, then you would have, 10,000?
Well, yeah, you could actually use the scheduler, because the scheduler has an option to drip them out, I think, at down to 1 minute intervals, maybe 2, I don't know. Well,
I was just thinking 5 minutes, and then whenever they woke up from sleeping, and then go schedule them again. So that by the time we start the event, we'll have 40,000 tweets, and that's if everybody gets retweeted one time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Some people, we get more than one retweet, but if you only had one retweet per each of those tweets, then we could start out with 40,000.
Well, and the other thing that really jacks the numbers up is using the RT button next to that tweet button. I know it's extra effort. I know there's not a convenient way to do it, but that is the magic. We're not going to tweet our way into this. What makes it work is retweeting one another, and that also builds up each other. Okay, so even though it's an extra effort, it pays off in spades. And when you do that, and it builds everybody else up. You're helping other team members as they're helping you, getting your name out there, getting their name out there, getting more followers, and everybody wins. So that sounds like fun.
Yeah, I thought it would be fun too, and honor George Washington as well, and our founding fathers.
Going to get a George Washington costume? You're going to get some wooden teeth?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, and a wig, yes. By the way, Erin asked a question in the chat. You said go in at midnight first, and what? She's wanting to get the
Well, we're just talking out loud. The idea is to send it off, do some fireworks at midnight, and get some tweets out there so that they can be cleared, so that Twitter will let you tweet again that same set of tweets later on. So whether you interactively press the tweet buttons or whether you use the scheduler with a very short cadence interval between tweets, either way would work. The idea is to everybody pounce on it and start these tweets not before midnight Eastern, but as soon after midnight as possible. Then go to bed, and by the time you get back from church, you can go set up a whole nother round, a whole new battery of featured tweets.
Yep, that's what I was thinking.
You got it.
And we could start out and then give a big poosh bang whenever we do the rally.
All right. Speaking of rally, I guess we better. People tend not to tweet too much when we're shooting the bull like this. Hey, Cliff, appreciate you not only calling in but filling us in, because I didn't know that, and it gives me confidence in the organization. That they're applying some strategy and some technique and some management. They're not just pleading and begging and saying donate. No, your money's actually working.
Yes,
and it's being used. That sounds cool. Tell that IT guy to hook up with me.
Mark Tranchina. Yes.
I'm not sure.
Or Mike. Excuse me, Mike Tranchina.
Yeah.
He's a little shorter in person.
Really? I did not picture that.
You know those Napoleonic complexes,
right?
Yeah,
okay.
You got it. All right.
But he's got nice hair. His wife owns a salon, I think.
Okay.
That always helps. All right. Well, we're gonna cut back out. We may come back in later on this evening with some updates. If you would like to participate, hit Susan up, and even if you don't have Skype, you can certainly call in if you'd like to share your thoughts on the COS project. So we look forward to doing that with all of you. And in the meantime, we'll get back to our tweeting. We're doing a great job. Susan just reported that we've got like 10,000. We've got
Over
more tweets
10,000
already tonight than we had the whole day a week ago.
Last
so
week.
that
Yep.
is super. So with that, we'll just sign it off, and we'll be back a little bit later on.